Okay, so let's look at what happens when too much of the wrong kind of climate, the wrong kind of force, or even fairness for all good intents comes into play. What happens to the individual and their sense of worth?
When you start having somebody that was raised in a climate like that, which usually these things start when they're young. When you are first born, and we have mentioned this previously, we are all born with an innate sense of self-worth. We have high self-worth when we are born. When you are in a climate where there is an emotional undercurrent that comes in, our self-worth then starts to kind of become a wrestle. Just like the boy that walked into dad and mom, he's all great and happy, and he all of a sudden gets this emotional message underneath. And then he starts thinking, wait, was that me? And over time, he starts to think, wait, there's a self-worth wrestle. Maybe I'm not of worth. After that, it then goes deeper and it goes to their instincts. They start having a wrestle with their instincts. We are all innate beings and we all have instincts. You will hear that everywhere. Everybody talks about their instincts, or they just had a feeling they shouldn't do something. Well, in a climate like that, sometimes in a force world, they want you to start not trusting your instincts, because your instincts is who you really are. That is the inside you that you came with that will never be broken. But if they can get you to conform and to get you to start thinking that, oh, wait, you're hesitant, something's not right, but then you're like, nope, and you start discounting your instincts.
That's a shaky soil. That's a ground where, talk about uncomfortable, unsure, you're wobbly, you second guess everything. And if you second guess it with that person, what else are you going to second guess it with?
So after you begin to wrestle with it, you then just flat out deny them. Your instincts might be going off. Something's not right. This isn't right. I shouldn't be treated like this. But you just plain deny them because you have to survive the world you are in. Between the ages 1 and 4 years old, you will learn to survive. Every child knows how, and that is either fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. They will know that by the time that they are 4 years old. Now, in this situation, they have now been trained to cut off anything that has to do with their instincts. And then that is when learned helplessness comes into play, because you are then being told everything you need to do. You become a puppet. You feel like you can't make a decision for yourself because your decision could be wrong. You feel like you're going to get in trouble for whatever decision you do that's as stupid as making your bed, and you may have made it wrong. You're scared to do anything, but that's right where you will go in a climate like that. Most parents or most people intentionally would never want to do that. But this is just the byproduct of realizing where you are, where you've come from, and how your body works. After that, you will start to realize that you're violating a principle inside, and you'll kind of put a mask on, a facade. So at that point, after you've then gone into learned helplessness, you slowly go into a depression path. It's a close down sequence, and you will see everybody do that. They start questioning if they're in value. If they're not in value by the parents, they're not going to be in value by other people, or if their boss doesn't treat them of value, they really start believing they are not of value. And you actually see somebody that has gone down this depression path. They just sit there. It's like imagining someone in fetal position and they no longer can go anymore. That is the byproduct of what will happen if somebody is stuck in a climate like that for too long.
Right. They lose their voice. They don't know how to react. Everything that they thought was real, they came to believe wasn't. They come to believe that nobody cares about me here. And then it becomes, I'm of no value to anyone. And at that point, the only option, if I'm of no value to anyone, we wonder why depression and suicide are so linked. It's not that someone's sinning or doing anything wrong. It's that they've gotten down that path so far that they just don't see their own worth. They've learned to question everything. So what's the point? Why try? But the truth is, inside everyone still, there is that spark. That's something that longs to be loved and of worth. And if you as an individual can be mindful of the way you communicate with somebody and providing a climate that allows them to see their worth. And it's not something you can cram down anyone ever, but it is a soft wind of emotion that when you're in their space, it's that constant sending of love and care regardless, and even just noticing them. Somebody who's so far down that closed down sequence to that path of depression almost aren't even seen. They just kind of move in through the room and out and adrift in almost silence. And it's being there, noticing and reaching out, because as we're allowed to let that spark kind of ignite a little bit, and every time a little bit more and a little bit more of that spark, and to learn that they can trust their instincts again, which means the controlling has to stop. And as a parent or a friend or whatever, you see someone in that situation, you have to have the awareness to know that it's going to take time. That constant drive that put them down that direction has to be a bright, shining flame of love. Not hot and in your face, but just that warm glow that brings them back and constantly encourages them that the seeds to the solution really are inside them. Because going back again to remember how the mind works, the mind was recording all of it. Not just the stuff that was sending them down that path, but it was recording all the situations maybe where you were in their life and you did send that love or value. It's still recorded too, but they need the opportunity to see it and feel it. And that's empowering. And when you give people that empowerment of it's okay, yes, you've got this, you can do this. And we're back to the clapping hands when the child's walking. And yeah, they may have fallen down. It's okay. You did it. I'm cheering you on. You've got this. We've got this. And that is how we come back out of that. But it takes learning. It takes awareness. And sometimes it takes some professional help with somebody who knows how to help reverse that and how to fill in maybe even some knowledge voids that pushed them down, that because they didn't have it, they ended up down that path farther. And sometimes, sadly, it means removing yourself from the toxic environment that's still there. Because as long as that environment's there, they're going to continue to be shoved down. And that's a hard rabbit hole. So important tools to understand about how the different climate of communication that we use and that pattern of communication is ours, how it affects people. Because like you said earlier, you got to give people the benefit of the doubt. You've got to give them the hall pass. I don't think a parent gets up and says, hey, what can I do to screw up my child's life? Maybe some do, but for the most part, I don't think so. I think that if any of us could truly look at the other person's life and everything they've been through and where they are today, we'd probably go, wow, look how far you've come. Like, our mom, she came from a very controlling environment. That was in our world, and she had to learn through it and apply new things. And we've learned and applied new things. And every generation is hopefully getting better.
And I think as we all recognize, and even the ones that have gone down this depression path and are hitting and have hit rock bottom, if they can just have an awareness of how beliefs are bought as a child, they might be able to see that they really are of value, little by little, with the people they surround themselves with and the people that help them to see their value in a climate of nothing but love, no matter what they do, how they do it, or why they do it.
Right. So let's talk about, things that cause conflict and that things that start someone down this path or any path that might be uncomfortable. We've got, causes of conflict which get in the way of any scenario.